And he said the woman who saw her wig come off said her back of her head was scaly, like a reptile. And the woman tried to capture the cat like an animal capturing a prey. Luckily, the cat escaped. That's the good news of it. But he said the woman got frustrated and angry, then tried to climb a tree to get the cat. Now, I don't know what to think of it. It's less creepier than the Jack-o'-lantern kids, where another listener sent in this story back in 1983. I don't know why the 80s, but okay. He said he was 5 years old when Halloween came around. He said, I came home and my aunt was babysitting me after taking me trick-or-treating. And I remember I looked outside. Something made me look outside. I was going to say call, but nobody called. And he said, I looked outside and I saw these two kids. And this was in Michigan, 1983. Around, I think back in the 80s, like there was a lot of UFO sightings in Michigan. I'm sure they were just looking like, you see right there, it used to be a car plant. A lot of great things. Everything fell to shit. Now cars are made in China. I'm just kidding with you. So, I'd never seen a UFO, which I'm glad. Looking at it, I just was like, I'm glad I never got to see one. So, he said, there was these two kids standing outside, looking at me. They had glowing eyes. Glowing eyes, like there was lights inside their eye socket. Like a jack-o'-lantern. And he said, they walked to the door. They knocked on the door. My aunt answered the door, and I motioned to her like I'm not here if they ask. He said the kids asked my aunt, would I come out to play? My aunt said he's not home right now. And luckily they bought it. The kids left. But I'm glad my aunt said I wasn't there. Something in my gut was telling me something was wrong. Something could have happened. And luckily, I didn't go with them. Years after that incident, my aunt died mysteriously of cancer. Something, I believe, happened when she said something to them. I've never seen those kids again. I don't know if there was anything that similar happened to others. It just remains a mystery to me. And something that still bothers me to this day. That's something that's interesting, because you always hear about the black-eyed kids. You never hear much about jack-o'-lantern kids. That's why I refer to it as, because it's just like, I love that term, jack-o'-lantern kids, because, you know, who doesn't like jack-o'-lanterns? I'm buying one, so. So, it's always interesting. I especially like the jack-o'-lanterns where you could trace in it, you know, you put a candle in it and it illuminates and it looks like a cat and a pumpkin. I always like that. I never got to do that, so it's always interesting to me. But you always hear about the black-eyed kids. You always hear about those stories. I never imagine people encountering these jack-o'-lantern kids, or or Pumpkinhead. I don't know what to think of it. But anyway, these jack-o'-lantern kids. There's a story. Sorry, I'm going through my book. I started this story. I didn't write the story, mind you. This is based on a true story. And it's about Ryan Dunn. For those who don't know Ryan Dunn, he's a member of the CKY. CKY, I think that's what it is. And he was part of Jackass. Which I love Jackass, by the way. That is a good show. Makes me glad I never pursued the career of being a stuntman. But, you know, it's really interesting. The story involves the paranormal with Ryan Dunn. A lot of people believe they encountered Ryan Dunn's ghost. His ghost and all. And I don't know what to think. For example, on June 22nd, 2011, around 3 a.m., Ryan Dunn tragically died in a car accident with a crew member of Jackass 2 after drinking and speeding, which was horrific. But one person on Craigslist started trying to sell what he claims to be haunted parts of Ryan Dunn's car from the fatal accident, claiming ever since he took them, strange and weird shit is said to have happened. And here's the thing about it. When someone passes away, especially from something that horrific, you don't take shit like that and you don't do that. You just don't. And what happened that night, by the way, I'm walking into the room. Picking up my microphone, getting off the floor, because that's where I was sitting while I was recording our first show. I don't know why, so. Oh yeah, I remember. My dog was on the bed, so. Alright, back to the show. You just don't do that. And because I don't know if you take it something paranormal would happen, but morally you just don't do it. You don't. You don't take something that horrifically happened to be like, this is going to be a collector's item. This is going to be, I'm going to sell this on eBay, or I'm going to sell this on Craigslist, or I'm going to sell this on Amazon. Which I don't know if Amazon would do it, but I wouldn't put it past Amazon. They would sell really, really weird shit. But you just don't do that. That poor guy died. And another paranormal thing that happened with Ryan Dunn was that Bam Margera believed something happened. Bam Margera experienced something happening to him when Ryan Dunn died that night. Now I believe that. A lot of people have a spiritual and deep connection with friends, family, loved ones. And I believe that happened to him. I believe that. You know, people have deep, meaningful connections with loved ones. And yeah, I mean, for example, me and my Catwoman, we're soulmates. I believe in that. People have deep emotional connections, and I believe Bam Margera had that. And I believe ever since I noticed ever since Brian Dunn died, part of Bam Margera, I believe, died too. Because you notice he's been drinking a lot. He's been through a lot of personal problems. And I don't think he ever recovered. I don't believe Bam ever recovered from what happened. I believe that, for one, he needs someone to go see and talk to. And I don't think I believe intervention can help him, but he needs to go see a psychiatrist. He needs someone to talk to. So, I mean, that's what I hope for Bam Margera. So, I think Ryan Dunn was his best friend, someone he can go to and talk to and hang out with. I don't think he has anybody to hang out with anymore. So, that's my thoughts on Bam Margera. As for the guy who has the parts, I hope you got what you deserved. Basically is what you got. So, time for my story. I tell you one thing. This story, I never really told anyone this story. I should have, but but if you ever experience this, you really wouldn't want to talk about it. But nothing happened. Nothing bad happened, but let's just say something weird happened. Many, many moons ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I lived on a hill called Blue Jay Hill. And on Blue Jay Hill, I lived in an address called 118 Blue Jay Hill. Don't go to that address now, because, the people who live there now are okay. Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze. But anyway. This was this was like many, many years ago. So, this was back when Harry Potter first came out. And I lived in this neighborhood, and I never really associated with anybody. I mean, I had my friend, a few friends like Adam, Alicia, Clark, who was really weird. But sadly, I don't talk to any of them because Alicia died and Adam went somewhere and never heard from him again. And Clark is married with kids, so we all had different life choices and paths, and that's what happened.